Hey guys, what's up? This is Boy16, and today I'm going to be doing a video review and kind of like a tutorial on this Drok buck converter. For those of you who do not know what a buck converter is, pretty much it is like a step-down transformer from higher voltage down to lower voltage. But this has a lot more functionality than just a transformer. I'll get into that when I start explaining it. But pretty much what you need to know is that with a buck converter, you can put in a certain type of voltage depending on the range. And this one happens to be, I think, 89, or I'm not really sure what you can put into this before it can self-destruct. But on here, the capacitors are rated for 100 volts, so we know the maximum these can take is 100. So I think it's like 80 or 85 or something like that volts that can be pumped into this. And the voltage coming out of it, because of the fact that it's a buck converter, can be set to a lesser voltage or the same voltage. It can't go up because it's not a boost converter. There are buck boost converters which have two systems in them, one that steps down the voltage and one that steps it up. This only has the step down sequence. But if you ask me, for one thing, the reason that I didn't get one that has the buck boost conversion is because boosting is very inefficient with one of these. It's very inefficient, and it damages whatever item you're using. Like if you were using a battery or something, it would damage it. But with a buck converter, the most you can pump out of it is what you pump into it, up to a certain point. With this one, it's a 12 amp maximum output at the 85 volts or so that this is rated for. I would not recommend doing that with this because that's really pushing it. So, but anywhere between 50 and downward, you can push the full amperage out of this, and it shouldn't do anything to it. This does have a cooling fan for it, but that kicks on dependent on load. I'm not sure if it's dependent on temperature as well, but from what I've seen, it's dependent on the amount of load that's on this. So, right now what I have coming in is 42 volts DC from a power supply. And yes, I know my room is quite messy. I've been working on stuff in here. But it has 42 volts coming in. And what you see right now is the voltage that I have it set to, and I'll get into that in a second. But the 42 volts coming in is DC voltage. That's the one thing you don't want to get mixed up with these, is if you put in AC voltage, you will blow something up on here. It has to be DC. And if you do put in AC voltage, it does have a fuse in there, and I think also a relay that kicks on and off. I'm not sure, I haven't heard one, so I don't think it has a relay, but it has a fuse in case if you pull too many amps, or if you put voltage in the wrong way. But if that blows, that means there's something seriously wrong, and you could potentially damage the whole unit, and you wouldn't want to use it. But I got 42 volts coming in, and there's these two lugs on here, which are just screw terminals, pretty much, and they have like a little paddle that smushes the wires down, and then that's what allows it to make the connection. But they are labeled positive and negative. On the board, it'll say on the board where, like right there, in negative, and on the other side it would say in positive, but you can't see because of the shadow. But, hang on a second, let me get resituated here. There we go. Sorry about the shakiness. With this unit, you have multiple features on it. It's not just voltage in step up, it's also amperage controlled, and it has memory on it, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So right now we are set to 12 volts, And you notice there's these 3 little LED lights. Output light, which signal when that is on, that means there's power going through your exit leads. And a constant voltage, which that light comes on when the system limits your voltage because of it's reached the voltage that this is set to, or there's not enough, or there's too much voltage going back into it, and that'll protect the board from the voltage going back. And there's also a constant current LED, and when that one's red, both the output and constant current are red, which means, and they're red because for a reason, so that way you know that this thing is on, and if you touch the leads together, you will get, it'll spark, and it is just a cautionary thing that tells you. But constant current, when that goes on, that either means that you're pulling too much current for this thing to handle, or it's at the set amperage that you have it at. So I'll go to the set amperage, and the way you can get to that while you're in just regular thing is just by pushing, while the leads are not active, you push set to go to your set amperage, and right now it's set at 5 amps. And that's how much, sorry about shaking this. And that's how much voltage will be pulled from it at a given time. Is 5 amp, or amperage, sorry. That's how much amperage will be pulled from it at one time, is 5 amps. And the way you can adjust that is there's these 2 up and down arrows on the board here. You can't really see them because of the shadow again, but I'm sorry about that. But the way those work is that you just push down or up. And the cool thing with this is that you can hold the button down and it will go a lot quicker. So you don't have to just sit there pressing it for hours and hours and hours. It will go straight down and then fine tune. See? So 0.5 amps. Now it's set to. And then if I push the OK button, which is right here, and this is for making selections and turning the unit on and off, you see it goes and turns on, and the constant current light voltage is on, and the output light is on, and that signifies there's power being pumped through these wires. Now if I were to touch it right now, there's only a half an amp coming through here at 12 volts, so that's not going to do anything except do like a little spark. And you see that the red light goes on saying I'm pulling too much amperage and I'm on safety. So once you let off, or once the appliance that you're using stops using that amount of energy, it'll go back to constant voltage mode. Or once the amperage lets off a little bit, it'll go back down to constant voltage mode. And you can also set your parameters while the voltage is on, so that allows you to raise and lower it at the same time while you're using it. But it is best to make your adjustments. In a sec, let me get my demonstration motor out here. It's best to make your adjustments when the system is not active, or when the leads are not on. So hang on a second, I'll attach my motor leads here. Show you guys what I mean by the voltage and the amperage is adjustable, and you'll see how it works when I do this. Just bear with me right now. It's actually it's 32 degrees in Texas right now, so please excuse me if I am shaking the camera a whole lot and and I'm taking a bit more time than I do normally with my videos. It's just I want to get a thorough video in, and I don't want to be super jittery or shaky while I'm doing it. So, oops, yeah, it's on, so I got to turn that off. And the way you can turn it off is you push the set button. It's kind of weird that the OK button turns it off and the set button turns it off, but the set button is what turns off the power, and it turns it off temporarily. There's always power going to this board, and this display will always be lit as long as there's power coming into it. So, hang on a sec while I get this other lead put on. And please excuse the background noise. My brothers are all upstairs doing stuff, and I really don't care for the noise either, but I have to deal with it anyway, so. Alrighty, so now we're hooked to the motor, but you can see that this belt is not spinning. When I push OK, You can see it's spinning. And then on here, it'll tell you the voltage that's being supplied. And with this, it does drop the voltage like 0.02 volts. And that's mainly to protect the appliance that you're using. In case if there's a surge in power, it does that. But you can easily increase it. And then see it goes to 12 volts and it'll stay there. I mean, that's probably just a fluke with mine, but I don't care for it. It doesn't really do anything. It's such a low difference, it's not going to do anything. And then if we go to OK, we can see we're drawing 0.3 amps from this motor. And watch what happens when I take the amperage down. And I'm going to take it down while the motor's running, which you can do this because of the way this works, but watch. I'm going to take the amperage down, and you can see that the current limiting light went on. Take it down a little bit more here. See? Current limiting light went on, and the motor's not spinning as fast, even though we are still, well, we're not being pumped in constant voltage anymore because we're drawing more power than what can be given to it at the time. So it will drop the voltage if there's too much amperage being used, or it notices that you're using too much amperage. But when I bring the amperage back up, see, I brought it up to 70 and the amperage goes back up to 30. Now if I hit OK again, I can go into my voltage. And right now I'm at 12 volts. And I can increase the voltage while I'm running it. And note that when you increase your voltage, the current limiting will still be on, and you may end up hitting that current limit, but that is perfectly normal. So we'll see how, we'll go up a little bit here and you'll see the motor. Alright, so we're at 19.24 volts, and then if we hit OK, we're drawing 0.34 amps. And you can see there's a bit of a delay from when this thing was set and then when the motor kicked in. And that is a safety feature so it doesn't blow up the appliance that you're using or hooking it up to. So we will turn down the amperage until we actually notice the motor slowing down. So there you go, see? And the thing is with amperage, one tick on the amperage can do a lot in comparison to voltage. So you see, you can hear the motor change pitch. You can get motors going pretty slow with this. It's really cool, actually. And you can see we're drawing 1.2 volts, and that's the most that can be pumped into it before it reaches the constant current voltage. And that's what makes these buck converters really useful for lithium cells, because these have the brains that a lithium charger has in them. But the only thing you can't do with these is multi-cell pack charging, because of the fact that you would have to charge each cell individually. But for 18650s, such as these, you can charge each of these cells individually just fine with this, and it'll work great. And this lets you know your state of charge by showing you the amperage. Bring that back up a little bit here. Take the voltage down. And then turn the output off. And it's that simple. You just push OK to start and set to stop. So with these, you can actually monitor these off of this board by switching between your voltage and your amperage. Okay, stop. Okay, and so there your voltage is set, or set voltage. It'll show your set voltage, and then once you're charging, you can go into your amperage, and then your amperage is what'll tell you how far along you are, because once your amperage gets below 0.1 amps with the cells like these, you know you're almost charged. At 0.2 amps or 0.02 amps, you're pretty much done. They're not gonna you're not going to fill these up much more beyond that. But that's one of the cool things with this. And you can also use this, because of the multi-voltage and multi-amperage, you can use it to charge SLAs, 12-volt batteries, 6-volt batteries. These are really primarily built for batteries. And I've used this to revive, so far since I got it, which I got on Christmas, I've used it to revive 4 batteries that I've had that were dead. This thing is amazing. It allows you to see what's going on. It works great for that. So, what I'll show you now is actually your presets. And what you can do here, shut that off, and then if you go into your presets, F1, and that's function, or F0, which is function 0, and that is your preset. And if we hit OK, this is your preset number. So you can have, I think, up to 9 presets. Yeah, 9 presets on here. And you can select what preset you want before you boot up the system and turn it on. So what you do is you just go in and then choose one of them, set it, and then hit OK. And then you go to it, and once it's like that, you hit OK, and then it'll show up a little Y, and that means yes, and it'll save it. And then if we go to our preset now, and then we go to F1, and we hit OK, and then we go down back to, what the, oh, I turned it off. Okay, there we go. We go to 1 or 0, it'll take us back to our original thing, but it won't mess with anything. But now it'll be set to whatever you have it set at. F1, OK. F0. F7, OK. So let's just set F7 to 6 or 18 volts. Go in. F0, which is function 0, which is memory. And then we hit OK. 18 volts. Now if we go back and we go in and then we go to number 9, it's okay, that's actually weird. It doesn't, I'm not sure what that, oh, that's your I'm sorry, I was wrong about that. That was actually not your memory filing on here. Okay, this is what it is. Load 1, load 2, load 3. Alright, so what we're going to do, you have to go into function 1, and that's what loads it. Function 0 is what sets it. So you can go into that, and then you go to F1, and then once you set your preset, and you go to the same one, so we'll go to, whoops, what the heck? Oh, that was because I had that set all the way up to its maximum there on that program. F1. Alright, and then this is 5 volts, which is what my first one was set at. So, it does take a while to learn this. It took me a good while to learn. I just had to fiddle around with it for a while. And sorry about the error earlier. That was just, I couldn't figure it out. I forgot how to do it. But what those do is those allow you to set and bring back up presets. And it'll save it on both your amperage and voltage. So if you want to save something and just use it as is, you can do that. And then just load the program and then run it. And then it'll be at the set voltage and the set amperage. And then you can use that for multi-battery memory or just making it more convenient to get to your voltage. Because your voltage selection does take a while. So if we go up to, see, it does take a while to get up to your voltage selection. So the presets allow you to get to your desired voltage a lot quicker than having to just hold and change your functions manually. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys this because I haven't done a video in a while. And I wanted to show you something cool that I got and that I'm going to be using a lot more and that you're going to be seeing a lot more in my videos probably. But this is the Drok buck converter, and yeah, I just wanted to do a video on it. I hope you guys learned a little something about it. If you haven't and you didn't know how to do a certain thing, or you didn't know how these things actually worked. I hope you learned something. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Stay cool, YouTube. Bye.